All right, Nick, let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a team who really, I think they are underrated in a level of a move they made this past offseason, or a move they didn't make, so to speak. And we see the news of this past week come by, and it just kind of confirms today a story that we are going to talk about, just how good the Bengals were at roster management, at salary cap management, at all of the above. They made some very, very good moves this offseason.
Miles, I could not agree more. I think it's clear to everybody at this point that the Bengals head into the training camp as the big winners as they look forward to hopefully take that leap and win a Super Bowl in the 2023 season. But as we get into that news, I've got a question real quick first for you Bengals fans to answer, as always, in the comment section below. This one's kind of a hard one. Who is the fastest Cincinnati Bengal in team history? There's a lot of great names on this list. One potential new addition to the Bengals Ring of Honor could be on it. Could be a lot of different options. Let us know who you think the fastest player is in Bengals history in the comment section below. All right, Miles, I'll throw it back over to you now. What's the latest out of Cincinnati?
Yeah, Nick, for fastest player, I think Pac-Man Jones, pretty fast guy, underrated how fast he was, but I think that's a very interesting answer. But let's talk about quickness, talk about speed running. That's a really important part of this job. Talk about the running back position. We see the news this past week of Josh Jacobs, of Saquon Barkley, of Tony Pollard. All of these guys upset because they get the franchise tag slapped on them. They're very, they feel disrespected. They want all of these big deals, but nobody wants to acknowledge where the running back position is going. And that is the way of the NFL nowadays. But the Bengals and Joe Mixon kind of did things differently than everybody. And at first, it might have seemed like a slight or, something along the lines of not wanting Mixon that bad. But then we see what happened to everybody else. And it looks like Mixon is in a good position as well as the Bengals. I think it was a win-win for both parties. But before we talk about that in depth, Nick, let's go over to the article. This is from All Bengals on Fan Nation. It says Bengals running back Joe Mixon agreed to restructure his contract with the team last week, ensuring that he would spend the 2023 season in Cincinnati. Very important there. The veteran is entering his 7th NFL season after he was the 48th overall pick in the 2017 draft. The Bengals essentially tore up Mixon's old contract and gave him a 2-year, $11.5 million contract with $4 million guaranteed, according to Sport Track. Mixon has a $3 million roster bonus coming his way next March, and Cincinnati would clear $5.75 million in cap room if they opt out not to keep the veteran. Combine that with the fact that he can make over $2 million in incentives this season, and Mixon has plenty of motivation to show the Bengals and the rest of the NFL he can still be a game-changing player. So, Nick, I think the general theme here is this is a good incentive-laden contract for Mixon. He also gets a lot of guaranteed money, which is really great for the running back position. But the Bengals have also structured this deal in that if they need to get out from under it, they can, and it will save them a good amount of cap. But Mixon has the key here, the opportunity to show that he is still a contributor, he's still a playmaker, in what is the Bengals still Super Bowl window. This is the time that they're trying to win. So it's really important, like I said earlier, that he is there for the Bengals this season and he is happy when he is there. But Nick, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the Mixon deal and how is this different than what other teams are doing in the NFL?
Look, Miles, when we talked about the Orlando Browns signing earlier this offseason, at the time we said, look, this may be the move of the offseason of the entire NFL. But when you look at the Mixon deal and the Mixon restructuring in the context of literally everything else going on with the running back position over the past few weeks and over the entire offseason, I think the Bengals actually may have accomplished another move of the offseason, if you will. There is no reason that they should be getting Mixon on a deal like this when you look at his production. Overthecap.com, they do a great job providing a valuation to players. They look at what a player's contract is worth. They look at his production. They look at his age. They're very just blunt about it. It's just straight numbers game. The bank, according to Over the Cap, Mixon is valued at 9.9 and change million bucks per year. We'll round it up. We'll call it 10. The two cap hits on this contract for Mixon against the Bengals are 8.4 this year and 8.5 next year. So they're getting them at a discount. And you look at what's going on with the Chargers with Austin Eckler. He's upset because he's not getting the money he thinks he deserves. You, of course, look at Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, a Pollard with Dallas. Literally every running back who's at this position, this same position Mixon was in, is upset. They may not be playing at training camp. They may be sitting out the entire season. Everyone's angry. Mixon, no issue at all, signed a 2-year deal. He wants to play for Cincinnati this season. This team, Mize, I don't know how they managed to do this. I think it's a credit to Mixon for being a team guy. Let's give some credit where credit is due. But let's give some credit to the Bengals front office for once again doing a great job of roster management. Because these other teams, these are kind of contenders, right? You look at the Giants, they were a playoff team. The Cowboys, playoff team. The Chargers, playoff team. The Raiders kind of stink, so we'll kind of ignore them for a second. But they're hoping to be better as well. These teams are going into the training camp right now with a distraction at the running back position. The Bengals, no distraction at all. And just one other side to this as well, the Bengals' top contender in the AFC, of course, is the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs right now have to rely on young running backs. You know, they have Isaiah Pacheco going into year 2. They have Deneric Prince, who's a rookie. The Bengals have an advantage here because they're able to get Mixon on this very team-friendly deal. So they have a veteran quality player. I like Pacheco. I like Prince for Kansas City. Mixon is clearly better. I don't think there's really any argument there. So no matter how you look at it, Mize, the Bengals may have pulled off the move of the offseason, especially pertaining to the running back position.